Welcome to the Global Gratitude Summit. I'm Sharon Saraga Walters.
And I'm Luann Saraga Walters. Our guest today is a lover of learning and life, and just listen to everything that she's accomplished. She was a nun with the Sisters of Charity for 13 years, then earned a Master's of Education, followed by a Doctor of Divinity. She became a licensed practitioner and was then ordained as a minister of religious science. She also became a licensed financial advisor and earned the coveted CFP, which is Certified Financial Planner, designation with numerous securities and insurance licenses. Rev Dr Kathleen Lenover is also a trained professional life coach and founder of Education for Abundant Living. This is where she pulls all of her skills together as a spiritual wealth advisor, personal coach. She's an amazing teacher, spiritual director, entrepreneur, all rolled into one. And we are so honored to call her our friend as well. Welcome, Dr. Kathleen. How are you?
Yay, I'm just awesome, Luann and Sharon. Thank you so much. This is going to be a great conversation.
Do you know, we often talk about prosperity and abundance and the spiritual life, but also having been a financial advisor myself, I know that tendency of there's such an interesting, what seems like can be an opposition between abundance or prosperity and then financial planning. I mean, there's a tug, there's a pull and a tug and all of that goes on sometimes. So we love that you're here as our guest today because you pull these together in such a beautiful, synchronous way that is yours to teach. So if we can, let's start getting everybody on the same page. And we've talked about this a little bit before, the three of us, and I want us to kind of start here and then go forward, talking about the difference between abundance and prosperity and what those definitions mean.
Luann, that's a great place to start because most people use abundance and prosperity as synonyms, and in many respects, they truly are. I'd like to throw in another reflection of a definition around the word gratitude. So abundance, prosperity, and gratitude. You know, there's the classic dictionary differentials around abundance and prosperity, but the everyday usage for me has abundance like out there. I see us as living in an abundant universe. The grains of sand on this planet, the galaxies at night when I look out on a clear Colorado night, my mind cannot get wrapped around what I'm looking at, the vastness and the beauty and the grandeur. We live in an abundant universe. To me, prosperity refers more to my personal situation. So there's richness in our relationships, richness in our finances, richness in the depth of our spiritual lives and our attempts at self-care, joy in work or a career that really makes a difference. Where do we find prosperity in our own lives? And then gratitude. I know you're doing an entire summit on this.
Yes.
Yay for you. But you know what? Gratitude to me means that it's a knee-jerk reaction of knowing how blessed our lives are, where we don't have to too much think about it or meditate. We just get, oh my God, we're so blessed. That philosopher and theologian Ernest Holmes, I'm going to paraphrase, but he's known for saying, heaven is right here, right now. And we experience it to the degree that we become conscious of it. And there's the hidden key. Gratitude presumes a consciousness of the good.
Wow. Yeah, that's cool. There's an intention there.
Totally.
Yeah.
And then I would take it just a step further, that there's a discipline involved in deliberate gratitude on steroids. I mean, gratitude is gratitude, but when we want gratitude on steroids, it means a consciousness of how an issue affects me. For instance, I stopped at a favorite coffee shop and said to the gal, "Hey, thanks for coming in, having the coffee ready." That's gratitude. Now, here's the same scene, but on steroids. "Hey, thanks for coming in and having the coffee ready." You know, it gets me going for the day. It sets an energetic tone. So thanks for coming in and making my day.
That's awesome. You're feeling it more than a simple reaction. It's a full embodied, very holistic experience of gratitude, which and thank you for going in and explaining the abundance. And I love your example of all of the grains of sand, all of the stars, everything that we see, the abundance of the universe, and then the prosperity, which is more of a personal interaction with that kind of abundance, which leads us to our next question then, which Sharon will ask, tying in those three
Yes.
terms.
So, how does gratitude affect our prosperity?
Ooh.
Woof. Lordy girl, where do you get these great questions? I am really grateful to know, after 38 years of advising people financially, to realize the true determinants of prosperity. And it is twofold. Now, it's taken me 30 years to really boil it down to this. So I feel like I'm giving you some real boiled down gems. Determinant of prosperity or abundance is knowing what's important to you. And secondly, how do you feel about it? So this is not about what the markets are doing or how much you've put away for rewirement or anything like that. What's important to you and how you feel about it determines things like your monthly cash flow, where you're going to spend money, how much debt are you willing to carry, and how well your portfolio is performing. So money will flow toward what's important to you, not necessarily the shoulds in life. No matter how brilliant the certified financial planner is in telling you what the shoulds are, that's just how it is in the real world.
I want to pause you on that because I think that's a huge point. Money will flow depending on what's important to you. And you said earlier, the decisions that we make are based on what's important to us. How do you tie those two together? How do we really find out what's important to us so that, I guess, so you're saying we need to be aware of the decisions that we're making. Wow, peel that layer of onion back for me, because that's a huge statement. I think that a lot of people aren't really fully aware of.
Thank you. Yeah, we want to be grounded in this one, because this, as you said, is huge. Here's an example. I did a number of years ago. I did a plan for a family, and they had 3 kids, and I just loved this family, and we took every single goal. We spent a lot of time talking about their goals, and I created a master plan. I poured a lot of time and energy, education, and enthusiasm into it. I'd wake up like at 3 and 4 in the morning, and I would have an idea on where inside their plan I could find some more money or reduce taxes or accelerate debt payment or find money for 3 kids' college education fund. And then I presented the plan with great enthusiasm. Every single goal I was able to affect. I just felt as a younger financial advisor, like that's pretty hot being able to do all that work and figure that out. Now, fast forward about a year, and all of us came to the realization after the kids decided they all wanted to play soccer. That's where the money went, the fees, the uniforms, the travel. Nothing wrong with that. And powerful life lessons by being involved in sports. But could we have factored that in and met all their other goals? I failed to coach them to discover what was really important. And so I went on a hunt. How can I set up their thinking, pull it from them, elicit from them what's really important when in fact they might not know themselves on the surface. So after trying a number of exercises, I landed on one that simply asks one question. What's important to you about, and then I fill in the blank. Will you do this with me? Just to demonstrate how it's done?
Sure.
Okay. So,
Okay.
Luann,
Yes.
what's important to you about money?
Well, that it's a tool that I can use to take care of our lives, whatever that looks like.
Now, typically a client would go on and on a little bit more, but I'd love to stop you right there.
Okay.
And so I'm going to ask just one more question. It's the same question, you'll notice. I just pick up something you've just said. So, Luann, what's important to you about taking care of your lives?
Making sure that we have our necessities taken care of, and then having the room, I guess, wiggle room to be able to do things that are, fun for us to be able to do. So taking care of, it's important to be able to take care of our basic needs, but then also to move forward and do something else to live a fun life.
And what's important to you about living a fun life?
Ah, okay. Finding fulfillment in the activity that we do together, enjoying in some way, heart connection between the two of us, exploring. I'm speaking for me, although I'm looking to her because that's kind of how we
That's what we do.
we do our money, so that it's fulfilling and freeing and some kind of a very rich experience that we've both shared.
Now, you just gave me about 8, maybe even 10 there, awesome springboards.
Okay.
I could choose, and how would you choose? You would choose just intuitively, or while you're glued in on the person's body language, you get to a point where you can tell what's really important to them. Something as they are speaking will give them an emotional reaction. That is the thing you want to drill in on. And so if we continued this, I would use any one of the 8 or 10 beautiful things that you said about your life together. And I would say, well, what's important to you about that? And then we would keep drilling down.
Got it.
Until
so you're acting kind of like a funnel. You're really kind of narrowing in on that really heart-based, what's important to you. And like you said just a few minutes ago, we make decisions in our lives based on those core values, really. And we may not even be aware of it up here in the conscious realm, but in the subconscious realm, we're making decisions about where we spend our money based on that. Like the example you gave with the family who had a great financial plan set up, but they weren't actually taking into consideration that one of their main goals was that they wanted to, I guess, make their kids happy and give them a fulfilling experience as a child, something like that. That's how you're coming down into that realm then.
Bingo, girl, you
Awesome.
got it.
That's beautiful.
There were two things that I've learned over 38 years of doing this, and one is the determinant of prosperity will be what's important to you. And then the other one is how you feel about things. And that is dramatically affected by the atmosphere of gratitude that I allow in my life.
Wow. That's interesting. So that's where you're getting. So in answer to Sharon's initial question, how does gratitude affect our prosperity? We experience our prosperity based on those two things, what's important to us and how we feel about aspects of our life. And how we feel is that portion where gratitude comes in. So how do you know, I guess, what you feel about something? Boy,
Yes.
This is deep. And you did all this as a CFP. Goodness.
I did. And as an ex-nun and as
Okay. I don't think I've ever heard anybody call themselves an ex-nun, but
yes, exactly. And as a minister and
Yes.
a lot of paths going to these insights. So
describe that feeling aspect a little bit more. That's fascinating.
So fundamentally, I have learned, like in my own life experiences, that I create my life by how I choose to respond to life, not solely by just what's happening to me. So I choose to be grateful. Therefore, I create a lifestyle of being happy. My whole day is at the disposal of how I choose to feel. Let's take an iconic financial tool example. Keeping of a spending plan. I don't call it a diet because, as you can tell, I don't like diets. So this is a spending plan. Immediately, I would say, when I look at any financial tool, what's in it for me? So two things here. How can I, or how will I feel using the tool? And then how will I feel enjoying the results of using that tool? See, some of us personality types are very detailed, very organized. We love the process of tracking monthly the sources of income and then where money is spent. So we enjoy reviewing the records. Like we get this information for our spending plan from debit cards and credit cards, from people that still use checking accounts, keep a little record of where they spend cash or electronic paying sources. And then we love seeing the categories that those expenditures fall under, like eating out, kids' sports activities. See, that's real revelatory. And we feel in control and we feel pleasure in the awareness of how important something is to me or not. So I would ask, is that you? And I'll tell you quickly, that ain't me. I am a big picture, people-oriented type. So I want the same pleasure of knowing and the same pleasure of controlling. So what do? I hire it done. Yay, I have a bookkeeper and we use QuickBooks. And we review every month because that outside accountability is very revelatory to me. And thus, I make a recommendation for all of your listeners that their financial partner, and like me, that might be the bookkeeper, but for those who are in partnership personally with someone, you have something like First Friday Date. And the first Friday of every month, you put aside a couple hours, pour a glass of wine, and you have a session of being grateful for your life together. Gratitude for the commitment that you both are making for fiscal responsibility, and then gratitude and just watching accounts grow. See, we're motivated by feelings, and feelings can be controlled, and they are the thing that creates the life that we love living.
That's interesting. So Sharon had just written down a question, and I think that I think I know the answer to this, but let me go ahead and have her ask that, because I think what you just summarized is the why.
So why is it important for us to know our personality type?
You mentioned the two types, the detail-oriented and the people-oriented. And why it's important to know which one we are is because, and I think you just were summarizing into that.
Sharon, which are you, do you think?
Oh, I know the answer to that.
Which one do you think?
You are totally the people-oriented.
Oh, that's true, yes.
Yeah, she's not a spreadsheet girl by any means.
No. Okay. So if you do that about you, then are you justified, and in fact, very smart woman, by having Luann handle that aspect of the record keeping? And if Luann is more like you and not more opposite than you, then you guys hire it done. Because what you're after is that feeling, that sense of being in control and excited about knowing the information and allowing it to help you with decisions. That's where you're headed. And so you knowing your personality type helps you to know where and when to pass the buck.
That's really true.
Because that's a great point. If gratitude affects our prosperity, and if we're living in a situation that we're doing something opposite of our personality type, if I'm a people-oriented personality type regarding finances, and then I get stuck doing the accounting part of it, I'm not going to be very happy with it. I don't understand what I'm doing half the time when I'm doing it, and it just frustrates me. So it's very difficult for me to get into that land of gratitude and live in that. So I'm just focused on the instead of the wow. And I want to be, like you're saying, in the wow in order to be able to make those decisions then that opens that flow. That really, that's very cool. Am I interpreting that the right way?
You're hitting the nail on the head. So
awesome.
How you feel about things is such a quiet determinant of your own prosperity. So, for instance, the house that I live in is important to me because I want to be respected in the neighborhood. The kind of car that I drive or the club memberships, whatever. This is big ego satisfaction. Nothing wrong with that, but you just identify where that feeling lives and what it means to you. I feel mature and responsible as I save for my kids' college education. I feel playful and fun when I get myself involved with their sports activities. I feel sexy and desirable when I purchase evening wear. I feel confident and stable investing for future work choices, or what we call rewirement. I feel generous and organized, knowing my will is done and my estate decisions have been made. I'm free and relieved being out of debt. I'm responsible and in control when I make smart spending decisions. And I'm sophisticated and peaceful when knowing my all-weather portfolio keeps me from stressing out about market movement. So having all of these positive feelings creates a life worth living, and that sources my gratitude.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody, I mean, I know that I haven't been, wow, that's something I want to start doing.
I do too. One thing that you were saying that I love is having a couple coming together on a Friday night and having time together and talking about their finances in a very kind and loving and gratitude in a grateful way.
And how they
wonderful.
feel about the conscious choices that they're making. So being aware of those decisions, being aware of the feelings around those decisions is as important as those decisions. And I think that's my big thank you, Dr. Kathleen. That's a huge aha to be able to say, wow. So, I mean, and here I think we practice gratitude. We try. I learn a lot more from her because she's my gratitude coach as well. But this is another phase that I haven't really even thought of. And I'm a former financial advisor. I haven't thought of how I can look at, even something as, and I know what you're talking about, even something as simple as, okay, it was time to get the oil changed on my Honda. I am so grateful that I have fresh oil, making that that decision. I was able to spend the money to get that delivery system, my vehicle that I really enjoy driving, in shape so that I'm comfortable with it. I feel in control. I feel like a responsible adult, like you're saying. Those kinds of feelings around. That's cool.
Mm-hmm. Yes. It really is.
Yes. Have you guys engaged in that practice of doing a visioning board?
A couple of times. A couple of times, but we haven't done one in a while. And, we clip out the magazines. And so you're talking about that as a tool for prosperity.
Shifting a tool for gratitude also, shifting it a bit though. So instead of just the picture of the beach or just a picture of a new car you'd like, not that those are not important, but what if your vision board was created with an intention to be a vision board about how I will feel when I have accomplished particular goals.
Oh, wow.
How will I feel when I'm on the beach? How will I feel in this relationship? How will I feel? And so the look of a vision board begins to shift. And so you're looking in the magazines for pieces that represent more feelings than just the thing.
That's awesome.
Challenging.
I love that. I think that's date night.
Yes.
That's cool.
We got 2 date nights now.
I know. Well, we're going to have we're going to have several, but that's neat. So instead of I want to find a Bora Bora hut picture in a travel magazine, it's what would I feel like if I were already in that Bora Bora hut? And that might actually be something that's more tranquil, peaceful, fulfilled, joy-filled, whatever that might look like. That's neat because that puts me there. That's connecting me more with my decision. And I love that. That's the dance with prosperity. That's gratitude's dance with prosperity. It's doing a little tango. Where are we going to go?
And this dance really has 3 important key steps in it. We're already blessed. Be grateful. Pay attention to what's really important to us and pay attention to how we feel about it. Whoa.
That's awesome.
That's great.
Dance.
Dr. Kathleen. Well, you've just opened up my mind.
But you've also softened, though, the talk around prosperity and
definitely.
Finances. It's been softened through gratitude, and what you were saying, it's great.
Yeah, it's interesting because that's a great point too, because I think a lot of times people tend to fear the idea of planning, of financial planning, of setting a goal, or because coming from that state of where I am right now and where I want to be might feel like they're very far. There's a big distance between those 2 points. But what you're doing is adding in the feeling of joy and gratitude for each step in the process according to my authentic self. Mm-hmm. And that's very encouraging.
Yeah.
That is
when you add those things in that you just elaborated, doesn't that then act as a magnet to live even greater prosperity, ergo more gratitude?
Yes.
It's just like a little cycle.
I love that. You're so funny. You're so funny. Well, and I want to speak directly to our viewers too, who, if you've had an aha moment or many like we have just in this 30 minutes with Dr. Kathleen, look at her Education for Abundant Living website, which you can find on her speakers page as well to find out more. But we have one last question for you, Dr. Kathleen, and Sharon's going to ask you that.
Okay.
So what is your personal definition of gratitude?
It's that knee-jerk reaction of knowing how blessed I am.
Wow.
I love that.
I do too.
That puts into that heart space.
See, I think spiritual maturity comes through a deliberate having ourselves become more and more aware of things. Mm-hmm. I think the arrival of spiritual maturity in our lives can be measured when we just go there automatically. We just knee-jerk, see the good, and praise it. So I don't have to be controlling my thoughts, not to be negative. It's not like a struggle. Spiritual maturity is when I've done it so deliberately that for so long that I just automatically knee-jerk go to see the good and praise it. Is that not what gratitude is?
Beautiful.
Yes.
That's beautiful. Wow. So we want to thank you for lending your time with us today and talking about this amazing dance that gratitude has with prosperity.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I mean, you've given a whole new meaning of prosperity and bringing the gratitude piece in it. It was wonderful. Thank you so much. We are so blessed by you.
And so blessed.
Thank you. And so blessed by just knowing the essence of Dr. Kathleen, because she is amazing. So I want to encourage everybody to go to her website, Education for Abundant Living, and also be sure to join us again for another talk with another fantastic expert here on the second annual Global Gratitude Summit. See you soon.